For the entire history of the human race, there were exactly 2 places on Earth with no mosquitoes. One was Antarctica, which, fair enough, nothing wants to live there. The other one was Iceland. Then, in October of 2025, a guy named Björn found a weird-looking fly in his garden. He'd hung out a rope soaked in red wine, which is a genuine trick people use to attract moths, and also, coincidentally, the exact same trick that works on my uncle, haha. But something else landed on it instead. He told the local paper he knew immediately that he'd never seen anything like it. So he caught 3 of them, 2 females and 1 male, and sent them off to the Icelandic Institute of Natural History. They confirmed it. Mosquitoes, in Iceland, for the first time ever recorded, which means there is now exactly 1 mosquito-free place left on this entire planet, and you have to go to Antarctica to enjoy it. And honestly, that's not even the strangest thing about this country. Iceland is roughly the size of Kentucky. It has about 400,000 people in it, which is fewer people than Cleveland, and it is comfortably the most improbable place on Earth. Quick thing before we start. If you like this kind of video, hit the like button. It helps way more than you'd think, and it costs you about half a second. All right? 10 facts. Let's go. Number 10. There are no McDonald's in Iceland. None, 0. And Reykjavik is the only capital city in Western Europe where you cannot get a Big Mac. They used to have them, though, 4 locations. Then the 2008 financial crash hit, the currency collapsed, and importing all the required ingredients from Germany suddenly cost more than the burgers were worth. So the last one closed in 2009, which makes Iceland the only country to be economically defeated by a cheeseburger. And there's a postscript that is almost too good to be true. Somebody bought the final cheeseburger and fries sold in the country and then just kept it. It's been on public display ever since, live-streamed for years, and it has barely decomposed. It looks basically the same as the day it was made, which raises questions about the burger that I don't think anyone wants answered. Number 9. You cannot name your child whatever you want in Iceland, because there is a committee, an actual government committee, whose job is approving and rejecting baby names. If the name you want isn't already on the approved list, you apply, and they decide. There's real logic to it. Icelandic grammar has cases, which means names have to be able to decline grammatically, and they have to be spelled using the Icelandic alphabet. So a name with a C in it is a problem. Somewhere in Iceland there is a person whose job is telling new parents that their baby's name is grammatically incorrect, and I would like to buy that person a drink. Number 8. Icelanders mostly don't have family surnames at all. They use patronymics, which means your last name is built from your father's first name. If a man named Jón has a son, that son's last name is Jónsson, son of Jón. If Jón has a daughter, her last name is Jónsdóttir, daughter of Jón. So a mother, a father, a son, and a daughter living in the same house can all have 4 completely different last names, which must make hotel check-ins an absolute nightmare. And here's my favorite part of the whole thing. The Icelandic phone book is alphabetized by first name, because the last name doesn't identify a family, it just identifies a dad. Number 7. The only land mammal native to Iceland is the Arctic fox. That's it. 1. No bears, no wolves, no deer, no squirrels, nothing. The Arctic fox walked there across sea ice at the end of the last ice age, and then the ice melted behind it, which is either the greatest real estate decision in animal history or a very long-term mistake, depending on how you look at it. Everything else you see there, the sheep, the horses, the mice, the reindeer, all of it arrived on a boat with a human. An entire country's wildlife is basically one fox that got there first and then aggressively defended his lead. Number 6. Iceland has a single glacier that covers 8% of the entire country. It's called Vatnajökull. It's the largest glacier in Europe by volume, and 8% of a whole country being one sheet of ice is the kind of statistic that stops making sense the longer you look at it. And underneath that ice, there are volcanoes, active ones. That's not a fun coincidence, that's genuinely dangerous, because when a volcano erupts under a glacier, it melts an enormous amount of ice almost instantly and sends a flood roaring out from underneath. Icelanders have a word for this, jökulhlaup, which translates to glacier run, and the fact that they needed a dedicated word for it tells you everything. Fire and ice isn't a tourism slogan over there, it's a hazard map. Halfway point, and if you're still here, you're my kind of person, so go ahead and subscribe. The next one is already in the works. Number 5. In Iceland, you can walk between 2 continents, because there's a national park called Þingvellir that sits directly on the mid-Atlantic ridge, where the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates are slowly pulling apart. Almost all of that boundary is buried under thousands of feet of ocean. In Iceland, it's right there, above water, and you can walk down into the rift and stand in the gap between 2 continents. You can even scuba dive in it, in a fissure filled with meltwater, so clear the visibility runs over 100 meters, which is the only place on Earth where you can truthfully tell someone you went swimming in a continental divide and have it not be a lie. Number 4. Almost 100% of Iceland's electricity comes from renewable sources. Not a target, not a pledge for 2050, right now. It's hydropower and geothermal, and that's essentially the entire grid. They heat their homes with volcanic groundwater, they heat greenhouses with it, and grow bananas on an island that touches the Arctic Circle. And in Reykjavik, they melt the snow off the sidewalks by running hot water pipes underneath them. Meanwhile, the rest of us are out there with a shovel and a bad attitude. And to be fair, this isn't because Icelanders are more virtuous than everybody else. It's because they happen to be sitting on top of a geological furnace, and they were smart enough to plug into it. Number 3. Iceland has the oldest parliament in the world. It's called the Alþingi, and it was founded in the year 930, which is not a typo. That's before England was unified, and more than a century before the Norman conquest. Chieftains gathered outdoors in that same rift valley at Þingvellir once every summer, passing laws and settling disputes in a natural stone amphitheater, and they kept meeting there until 1798. So for 868 years, Icelandic democracy was held outside. In Iceland, which should tell you something about how tough these people are. The Alþingi still exists, by the way. 63 members sitting in Reykjavik. Over 1,000 years old and still running, which is more than you can say for most governments. And all of my kitchen appliances. Number 2. Beer was illegal in Iceland until 1989, and I want to be clear, not alcohol beer. Specifically, beer. Here's how that happened. Iceland voted for full prohibition in 1908 and banned everything from 1915. Then Spain got involved because Spain bought a lot of Icelandic fish and Spain wanted to sell Iceland wine, so in 1922 wine quietly came back. By 1935, everything was legal again, everything except beer stronger than 2.25%, and that one carve-out just stayed there for another 54 years. The official reasoning was that beer was too cheap and too easy, and that it would tempt young people in a way expensive spirits wouldn't. So for over half a century, Icelanders could legally buy vodka, but not a lager. If you were a teenager in Iceland in 1970, looking to make bad decisions, the government had thoughtfully removed the weakest option and left you with the hard stuff. It finally ended on the 1st of March 1989, after 74 years, and they still celebrate that date every single year as Beer Day, which is, when you think about it, the single most understandable national holiday ever created. And number 1, back to where we started. Until October of 2025, Iceland was one of only 2 places on Earth with no mosquitoes, and the reason was the freeze-thaw cycle. In most cold countries, winter shows up, everything freezes, and it stays frozen until spring, and mosquito larvae can survive that just fine, because they simply wait it out. Iceland doesn't work like that. Iceland thaws and refreezes over and over through the winter, so the larvae wake up, get excited, and then immediately die. It's the world's most effective pest control system, and it's completely accidental. That cycle protected the island for its entire recorded history. The species they found, Culiseta annulata, is unusually cold-tolerant. Scientists think it probably arrived by freight, and they think it can handle Icelandic conditions. Now, the researchers were careful here, so I'm going to be careful too. 3 mosquitoes is not an infestation, and whether they survive long-term is still an open question. But the reason this made headlines worldwide isn't really the bugs, it's what it signals. Because Iceland is one of the fastest warming regions on the planet. Scientists always said mosquitoes would eventually arrive. They just got there earlier than expected. So, that's Iceland, a country the size of Kentucky with fewer people than Cleveland. 1 native land mammal, a 1,000-year-old parliament, a committee that has to approve your baby's name, a glacier covering 8% of the land with volcanoes underneath it, and an immortal cheeseburger from 2009. So here's what I want from you. Leave a comment, and if you've been to Iceland, tell me the strangest thing you actually saw there. Not the postcard stuff, the weird stuff that doesn't make it into the guidebooks. And if you haven't been, tell me which of these 10 surprised you the most. I'm betting it's the phone book one. If you made it this far and you still haven't hit like, come on, hit it. Subscribe if you want more of these, and turn on the bell so you actually see the next one, because otherwise the algorithm quietly forgets I exist. And drop a country in the comments, because whichever one gets asked for the most is the next video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.